Hi there, and welcome to this short video where we'll be looking at several mechatronic topics. One of them, and the one for today, being the programmable logic controller, shortly PLC. Now, before we start, I think it's important to establish what is a PLC. Now, it's essentially a computer. Professionally, it is an industrial digital computer which has been ruggedized and adapted for the control of manufacturing processes such as assembly lines, robotic devices, any activity that requires high reliability control and ease of programming and process fault diagnosis. Now, that's just an online definition, but that's what PLCs are used for. But what a PLC actually is, it's a computer. And just like a PC tower, a PLC is unable to do what it's capable of doing without the correct peripherals. And on a PLC, the peripherals are modular connections that can sense, that can count, that can time, that can actuate. And all of these converge to allowing it to be part of a process or be in control of a process. Now, PLC that we are all very familiar with is our brain. Our brain is in charge of many processes. So many processes, it's unfathomable by the stretch of the imagination. But just to categorize the processes at its most basic level, it would have to be conscious and unconscious. So you have conscious processes that are being executed on a daily basis while awake, but when you go to sleep, a lot of these processes become subconscious, and conscious processes essentially cease. Subconscious processes being your heart pumping blood around your body, your lungs continuing to inhale oxygen, metabolic processes at a cellular level. But then you also have those conscious processes that we just talked about, and that when you're awake, these subconscious processes don't cease, they continue to run in a loop, if you will. And your conscious processes are based on the inputs you receive and the outputs you deliver. So let's just take a quick look at what's on the screen right now. We have a program, a very simple ladder diagram, which is based on ladder logic, very common programming language for PLCs. And if we have a look to the right, we see a very colorful traffic light, and we see some buttons, red, yellow, green. And this switch, if you will, is also a button, but it is associated with the green button. We'll come back to that in a bit. If you were to have a look at this program itself, you can see that there is a button and there is a light. And it's red, yellow, and green. There are also these blocks. Now, the compare and operate block, these are blocks that are actually associated with this virtual operator screen, right? This virtual display, if you will. And I've created this so that we can see what's actually happening in the circuit if we were to run it, which we will very shortly. If we were to have a look at this, we just said that the PLC is a device, a computer, that found its place in industry because of its autonomous capabilities. It's able to make processes autonomous, and this allows for greater reliability, higher levels of precision, and we have a very good, if not optimal, result because of this. Now, when you look at this program, it's not expected that it is autonomous because there is a button that requires to be pressed for something to happen. So in that sense, it's not autonomous in the traditional idea, but it is in the form of a PLC. We are now going to connect to the PLC, and as you can see, the screen indicates that we have connected, and we can see these green connections, and then we can see the red connections as well. Intuitively, green meaning connected, red being disconnected. So if we were to press these virtual buttons for the red, you can see the red light comes on, the yellow light comes on, but once released, it's disconnected. And for green, the green light comes on, but once released, it disconnects. That's where this button comes in, or should I say switch. When we press and release, it stays on, as you would expect a switch would. If we were to press the other way, we force a variable modification, so the input is gone, it becomes an output, becomes 0, and the light goes off. Now, in that sense, this is an autonomous program. The program is right now in the PLC demo box, and it is waiting for an input to complete its function.